Hello and welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have a new and special guest with us, Alex Klenman. Alex is Chairman and Chief Operating Officer of Nexus Gold. Nexus can be traded as NXS on the TSX Venture and as NXXGF on the OTC for U.S. investors. Thanks, Alex, for being here with us today.
I appreciate you having me, Jeb. Thank you.
Alex, it's a very exciting time, and you've made so many advancements in the past few months in Burkina Faso, where we have seen some great success recently with companies like True Gold and Roxgold and Endeavor Mining. Talk to us about all the work that you've done the past few months, and you're exploring, and you've made some exciting advancements on a discovery in Burkina Faso.
Absolutely. Well, it has been, as you mentioned, a whirlwind few months for us. Late last year, we picked up a concession in central Burkina Faso. This concession is called Bubalu, which is a fantastic name and easy to remember. It was called Bisa West prior to our acquisition. It was actually held by Roxgold in 2011 and 2012, where they did some initial drilling and some work. And a little later on in 2016, we picked up a second concession, 178 square kilometer concession called Niangua. And our geologist, Warren Robb, who was also chief geologist for Roxgold in 2011-12, took one look at Niangua and said, I think we want to start working here. There was some visual excitement, if you will. There was a quartz vein outcropping and several artisanal areas that looked intriguing to Warren. So we began the work, and as you mentioned, the results started to flow.
Talk to us about some of the initial work that you did and some of the samples, which brought a lot of interest to the company.
Yeah, well, the first thing we wanted to do, we had a very simple, clear path that we wanted to take. Warren wanted to get a very good look at this quartz vein, get an idea of how the system was structured, and so we did a combination of some sampling and some RAB drilling. The sampling really, as you mentioned, put us on the map for a lot of investors. We took 11 samples. 8 of them were quite good. Several of them were high grade. Now, these samples were taken primarily from artisanal shafts. Now, for people who don't understand how that works, these local miners, they literally dig by hand, and they're digging shafts down 30, 40 meters into the saprolite or the soft rock at the top, and they're hand extracting rock and crushing and literally hand mining to feed their families. So we went down a couple of these shafts, and we were able to chip off some quartz vein material. And I guess the big strike was a sample that came back 2,950 grams per ton, which is outstanding. And amazingly, we were seeing quartz, visible gold in chunks of quartz, but not in this particular sample. This sample had no visible gold. It was actually a free gold sample that came up. But we also had 23.9 grams per ton from the shear, which surrounds this vein, this quartz vein. We were also able to pull a 403 gram sample from about 60 meters and a 49 gram sample. So these were all extremely high grade. The average grade in Burkina is somewhere around, anywhere from a half a gram to a couple of grams, maybe. There are large mines there operating under a gram overall. So we were quite excited to get high grade. It's not very common in Burkina. Yaramoko, the Yaramoko mine for Roxgold is the high grade mine in the country. So it was a good first step, and we were happy with the results, and so was the market. Our stock climbed quite profoundly over the beginning of the year, from January right through mid-March.
And this allowed you, I believe, to raise some money and boost the treasury and to expand the drilling program at Niangua. Can you talk to us about the expansion of the drilling program?
Yeah, we were able to raise about just over $2 million. earlier in the year, and immediately began a 2,000-meter diamond drill program at Niangua based on that RAB program and the sampling. And this, I should mention that this concession had never been drilled. It had some sampling and some trenching and things done over the years, and the artisanal activity, of course. But these were the first holes to be put down, and we did 9 to start, and 8 of the 9 intersected gold, which is a phenomenal ratio. I guess the highlight was a 26.69 grams over 4.85 meters, so almost 27 grams over 5 meters, and at 58 meters below the surface. In the shear, it was actually the shallowest intercept from the program. There was a meter in that intercept of 132 grams per ton. We also we did 6.2 meters of 4 grams. In that hole, there was also a 20-gram hit over a meter. And a couple of other holes that were quite interesting, well above the average grade. So 8 of 9 hit on that first round. Again, the story continues to amaze as far as, in exploration, you're prepared for speed bumps. You're prepared to go for, have an offer, to use a baseball analogy. But we're so far so good. Everything seems to be going well, and I'm excited because I know the size of what we're dealing with here. We think we have about a kilometer strike on the vein. We have a 500-meter oblique strike of anomalous gold that structurally is very suggestive. There's artisanal activity, hundreds of meters on both sides of the strike that we're on. There's a lot of mineralization there, and for us to have these types of results the first time we're stepping on the property and getting a little bit of work done, it bodes well for the rest of the exploration.
Can you kind of give us a sense where Niangua is located? What other some of the other companies that are mining there, and what sort of deposits are in this gold area?
Sure. Well, Burkina is a rather prolific gold-producing country now. It's near the top of African production, and it's really one of the last. It's only had modern mining for maybe the last 2 decades, but there's large companies. You mentioned Endeavour, which had a huge takeout of True Gold last year for what was the number, 240 million, I believe was the number. We're in the same belt as many of these well-known companies and mines. Norgold operates the Bisa mine, not too far from where we are. We're in the central, very, very central part of the country. The Karma mine's not too far from we are. That's Endeavour. That's a 3.4 million ounce resource. There's Orezone is also in the country. There's several large companies and a lot of mining activity, and it's fairly modernized now compared to what it was a couple of decades ago. But the nice thing is there's still a lot of open ground. I mean, we were able to get a 178 square kilometer concession with this type of grade for an incredible deal, really. You just can't do that in places like Nevada or other places on the planet. It's just not the same. Now, you take your chances, of course. There's higher risks in different jurisdictions, but certainly Burkina is stable. It has been. There are concerns that we've heard over, geopolitical stresses and things. But work goes on in those countries regardless of what the political situations are. They're dependent on foreign currency. Mining and exploration are a big part of their economy. And judging by the companies that are doing work there and in West Africa, we have a lot of companies. So when the bigger companies are operating, it's somewhat safe, and we feel that way. And so far, so good. We've had no problems. West Africa in itself is far less worrisome than a lot of people think.
Alex, let's talk about, I know that you're expanding the drilling program at Niangua. Talk to us about the Bubalu prospect as well. Are you going to be drilling that property or samples that property? What's the update with that situation?
Yeah, no. Well, Bubalu was really our primary project in Burkina, but Niangua has really jumped to the forefront. But you're right, we shouldn't overlook what Bubalu is. Bubalu is a 38 square kilometer concession, about an hour and a half west of Niangua, southwest of Niangua. It's more advanced in terms of what's been done there. Roxgold acquired the property from Riverstone in 2011 and did a couple of rounds of drilling. They did an RC program that highlighted things, really lengthy intercepts, 40 meters of 1.5 grams and 20 meters of 2.5 grams, 35 meters of 2.2. Also 12 meters of 5.5. Good numbers in the RC, and then they did a diamond program as well with a couple of notable intercepts, 4 meters of 12.5 grams. These are all, shallow, between up to about 100 meters depth. So again, we've got a little bit more advanced work done at Bubalu, a smaller concession, but a more proven concession, and we do plan on getting to Bubalu at some point here in the near future. We have the money to work both properties. I think the excitement with Niangua is apparent, and we're going to devote some time there first. But we can work there year round, both concessions, and we think between the two of them, we're well on our way to a resource estimate at one or both, perhaps as early as the fourth quarter of this year at Niangua. Who knows? Certainly within 2 years here, we're going to be putting a lot of money and time into both properties.
So why don't you take us through what you see the next, 12 or 6 to 12 months? What shareholders should look forward to in terms of news flow and catalysts?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, obviously, when you're actively drilling, you have a horizon of catalysts, and those are always in the form of drill results. You have different people who view things as different catalysts. Some people will view the announcement of a drill program commencement as a catalyst. You'll have other people who view catalyst moment as being perhaps those type of results that come from those programs. We are looking at a number of things. Obviously, we're going to be exploring both properties. Right now, the drills are turning at Niangua, so we anticipate results within 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, depending on the labs. And that's really we're finishing the first phase. There's about 500 meters to go, and we'll do another 2,000 meters at Niangua. We're testing the vein and the mineralized zone that we've just basically discovered, so we're going to go in and around that. There's several other areas, hot zones, if you will, that we've identified that we'd like to pop the drills in over there, and we're going to see what that holds. Obviously, there's 2 work programs between Bubalu and Niangua, but we're also looking to perhaps acquire additional properties where we have good countrymen in our team, and they're looking for other prospects. We'd like to become one of the more preeminent explorationists in Burkina, and we think our value in the company will grow as we make acquisitions of these prospects and develop them. And so far, Niangua has turned out to be a success, an early success. We already know what we're dealing with at Bubalu, and we just know if we add a third and perhaps a fourth project to our portfolio, that our value will increase. We know we're in a bull market now with gold, and we know we're going to rise with that tide. A lot of what we do on the ground will determine just how far we rise. But if you're a statistics or a probability person, particularly at Niangua, you have to think that we're heavily favored to do well at Niangua because the early success is tremendous.
Alex Klenman, Chairman, COO of Nexus Gold Corp, which can be traded as NXS on the TSX Venture and as NXXGF on the OTC. Thanks so much for being here with us today, and make sure to get more information at nexusgoldcorp.com to learn about this exciting gold explorer in Burkina Faso. Thanks, Alex, for being here with us today.
I appreciate it, Jeb. Thank you so much.